Alright, YouTubers, come back at you with another knife review today. We're looking at the new Cold Steel Broken Skull. Sorry, I had to say it like that. Designed by Steve Austin, or so they say. We'll get into that later. Cool knife though, guys. I'm pretty excited about this one. Look how thin it is. It's kind of crazy how thin it is. In fact, we're going to get out the calipers and measure that thinness because it is a thin, long blade. Let's go ahead and measure. Get my caliper zeroed. So the thickness of the knife, a lot of this is due to the axis lock and the lack of liners, is 0.3595. Oh, I always do that with calipers. Come on. That is thin, guys. So thin. I don't think I have a thinner knife, a folder anyway, in my collection. Here's another Cold Steel. The Fin Hunter, or the Fin Wolf, excuse me, and it's thicker, almost 0.47. It's almost a good amount thicker. So there you go, thin and long, 4-inch blade. Got your broken skull. Lots of advertising on this blade, which is alright. What it is, it is what it is. It's Cold Steel, and you've got a great steel here in CTS XHP. Made in Taiwan, as most Cold Steel folders are. So that's a lot of blade. Now this is a new type of coating for, well, I shouldn't say new, but newer compared to some of their older blades. They used to use this kind of like paint that would just come off really easy. This is a DLC coating. It's really quite durable actually. So it doesn't wear off nearly as easily. It takes quite a bit of abuse, which is nice. Now this knife is available in many colors. This is the gray G10, but it's really a light gray too. Kind of looks white in some of the pictures. It's definitely light gray though. You have orange, black, blue, and pink as far as I remember. Maybe another one. Lots of color options. It's been a pretty popular folder for them. Comes in about $75 to $80, which is a good value for a 4-inch blade of CTS XHP steel. Really, really good steel. So let's talk about the handle. It is long, guys. It is big. And if you've got huge hands, this is the knife for you. And maybe Stone Cold Steve Austin has, I wouldn't say maybe, he probably has large hands. And so he wants something pretty big. Now, what's nice about it is you have a couple multiple hold points. Like I'm choked up pretty far here, up to this, we'll call it a, finger guard, we'll call it. Not quite a finger guard, but close. You got a little jimping right here on the G10. And you can get a nice choke up on that knife, and you've got a lot of, you can put your thumb up here. There is no jimping up here, which is actually, it is what it is, good or bad, depends on your opinion. I don't mind it. You can get in there and do a lot of fine detail work. You got that clip point blade, which for a defensive blade would be a good, piercer, we'll call it, stabber. And you could also choke down here and still have a lot of handle, but gives you a lot more reach. And I think that's how they designed this knife, as a defensive folder, something that you would use as a secondary weapon to your handgun. That's definitely what this knife entails. It's definitely a tactical folder. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, I said Stone Cold Steve Austin designed this. It's very similar to the Lone Star Hunter. If you're familiar with Cold Steel, it's almost identical. It's just got different materials. Now it uses higher end steel and G10. Again, linerless, so it keeps the weight down. For such a large knife, it weighs in, on my scale, at 3 ounces. Wow, that's amazing. A 4-inch blade, 5+ inch handle, and it weighs in at 3 ounces. That's pretty awesome, guys. I mean, you're not going to feel this in your pocket at all. Now the G10 is very coarse. I'm going to say that. It's definitely going to grip your fingers, no doubt, but it's also going to destroy your pockets. Is another one issue I have with this knife. Probably the only issue I have with this knife is the pocket clip design. Now it looks nice. It kind of flows with the lines of the knife and everything, but then look at that. There is literally zero give right here, and it's not springy. It's very stiff, and it destroys your pockets, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. You got to be careful. If you don't care about your pockets, you don't mind replacing your jeans all the time, or you're using like you know, some kind of ripstop shorts or pants, and you'll probably be all right. But if you're wearing a regular jeans, that's going to tear you up. So I would actually like to see a sheath made for this knife, because I think it would be a good belt knife, because it's such a long blade, but it's still pretty compact and it's very lightweight. The opening is pretty dang smooth on this thing. It's pretty quick. It's so hard to do this on camera with these things sometimes. There we go. You can definitely thumb stud flick it. It's, you know, it's not going to be like other folders, and that's typically because of the access lock, or not the access lock, the triad lock. So, really cool folder, guys. For the money, it's a really good deal. I mean, you can't find a 4-inch blade of high-end steel CTS XHP for this price, and it's got good materials, it's a good design, the strongest lock in the industry. I mean, you can't really go wrong if you're looking for a defensive folder and you don't want to spend a lot of money. Now, a lot of Cold Steel lights are going to be like, well, that's kind of expensive for a Cold Steel. Well, you know, you're getting I think a really good value, because you're getting that higher end steel, and I don't know of many knives that are made in that steel that are, you know, that are under 75 bucks. I just can't think of any off the top of my head. There is a lot of Cold Steels using that steel now. It's kind of their go-to, which I like. It's a definite huge upgrade from Aussate. So here it is compared to the Kershaw Emerson CQC 4XL. So many letters. And it is very similar in size. Both these knives have a 4-inch blade. You've got more handle on the Cold Steel, but not by a ton. And you've got a much better steel here. Of course, your cost is quite a bit different as well. So, but just a similar size folder. This is one of my favorite budget knives ever, though. Super smooth. It's crazy. Here it is next to the Finwolf, like I mentioned, which is a great outdoors folder. Got that Scandi grind on there, so it's quite a bit bigger than that. And the other knife I have sitting on the table here from doing a review is this Ganzo, the 729, I believe. Might be the 727. Very close in model number, so it's a little bit bigger. That's basically a paramilitary 2 size. So just to give you guys some kind of reference points there to the size of this knife. Again, it is long. I mean, I have medium. I wear a medium-sized glove, and I've got a ton of handle left. But I like that for the reach factor. Using this as a defensive blade, I think that's its main primary focus. I mean, obviously as an EDC folder it'd work. It's a lot of blade for an EDC folder, but you know, it's so light and thin that you don't really notice you're carrying it. If they would have just done a little bit better on the pocket clip, like I said, it flows well with the designs. If they would just give you a little more space under there, so it didn't, you know, maybe sand this. And you know, one of the common mods on Cold Steels is to sand the G10 down underneath the clip. That would actually help quite a bit on this model. So that's something you want to go ahead and give a try. That would make this knife, you know, I would have zero issues with this knife at all if that pocket clip was modded or fixed. So, alright guys, that's my review of the Cold Steel Broken Skull. Great knife for the money, guys. I love that it comes in all those different color options. It's a big tactical folder that it's not going to break the bank, you know, and it's a good secondary defense option. So, thanks for watching the video. We'll see you on the next one.